Limited run game deliveries are a lot like buses. You wait for ages and nothing turns up, and then 3 turn up at once, including what could be the stupidest game I've ever bought for my collection. And after what seems like an eternity, I have finally managed to score on Facebook Marketplace.
Game Pickups! Building the game transfer! Rush trips! Live game hunting! Always game out!
Hello again folks, and welcome back to a very special Game Pickups episode. That's because it's always a great day when I get delivery from Limited Run Games, and this time we have not 1, not 2, but 3 deliveries to unbox together. But not only that, after what seems like an absolute eternity, so many blanked messages, so many is this available? Nothing on Facebook Marketplace, I finally managed to score an absolute steal of a deal on Facebook Marketplace. Just before we get into this episode, I just want to remind you folks, if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and please subscribe, as I put new videos out every Saturday live at 5, as well as bonus content throughout the week like this one, and I really want you folks along for the ride. Now, let's jump into our first limited run delivery. Let's jump into our first delivery, and truth be told, I totally and utterly forgot I ordered these games. I ordered them with a different email address and never got the tracking details, so when these 2 games arrived, it genuinely was a surprise. And the first game in here is this game, which I just thought looked super cool, and it is Death Wish Enforcers. I don't really know a great deal about this game. It just looked super cool, and here's the thing, with limited run games, most of the time it's worth taking the risk. Most of the time I enjoy the games I pick up, but honestly, if there's ever a game you pick up from limited run games you're just not really vibing with, chances are you can probably sell it on eBay for more than you originally paid for the game. I know it's not really the spirit, but at least that way your money is always safe with limited run games. This game does look super duper cool. I think it's a side-scrolling shooter, kind of a la Metal Slug. It looks really cool, and yeah, really looking forward to jumping into Death Wish Enforcers. But without a shadow of a doubt, this was the game I was most excited for. Toy Soldiers HD. To be able to finally own a physical copy of this game, which was released back in the day on the Xbox 360 Live Arcade. And what a game it is. It is essentially kind of a World War I strategy game where you have to defend the toy box using all the toys in your arsenal. And it is a very large arsenal. This game gets difficult, but you have so many units to upgrade, and even better, this physical copy comes with all of the DLC, which I seem to remember includes Masters of the Universe and also G.I. Joe. And of course, because it's a physical copy, with DLC such as that, the licenses will run out, but as it's physical, I'll have that DLC forever. So really excited to jump into this one. But there is something a little bit strange about this game right here, Toy Soldiers HD. Now, I bought this game through Limited Run Games, but they were only distributing this game, which is good news if you're watching this video and think, I'd love to pick that up, because you can jump on Amazon right now and buy a copy of this for about the same price which I bought it off Limited Run Games. It is annoying in a way, but honestly, I'm just glad more people get to experience this incredible strategy game. Let's get into our next packet then, and spoiler alert, these are both games for the Xbox One. Now, I did decide recently I wasn't going to go for a complete Xbox One limited run collection, just because, honestly, there were some games that I just had very little interest in. But of course, there's still some games which I have a lot of interest in, including this first game right here, the iconic Quake 2. I don't really know what else there is to say about this game. It's Quake 2. If you're a gamer, you owe it to yourself to play this game. If you're a first-person shooter fan and haven't played this game, pause the video now and go and play this game. This is without a shadow of a doubt one of the most iconic, one of the greatest first-person shooters of all time. And to be able to play this on the Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series One, I just couldn't pass up the opportunity. This next game is a collection of games which I couldn't pass up the opportunity to add to my collection physically. These games have been released digitally, but you know me, I'm a physical collector, and to buy the original versions of these games would cost a lot more than this physical collection. This is an expensive franchise, and this franchise is Castlevania and the Castlevania Advance Collection, a collection of 4 absolutely incredible Castlevania games which were originally released on the Nintendo Game Boy Advance. And to pick up these 4 games separately would be super duper expensive. Yes, I could have bought a digital copy of this game super cheap, but I'm a physical collector, and for me this is one of the best ways to own these games forever. And with the new upcoming Castlevania collection, you just know I'm going to be grabbing that through Limited Run as soon as they drop the pre-order. Let's get into this final delivery then from Limited Run Games. And like I said at the start of this video, this may be the stupidest game I've ever added to my collection. That's because on April 1st, every year, Limited Run Games release an April Fool's game. A game so stupid that you would never expect anyone to want it for their collection or for a company to produce it. And without a shadow of a doubt, this is the stupidest, funniest, most random game that Limited Run Games have ever released. I own this game on multiple consoles over multiple releases, but this right here, the Game Boy Advance release of Night Trap, is absolutely ridiculous. Now, full disclosure, this is not the full version of the game. This is a Game Boy Advance video cartridge. Yes, if you didn't know, back in the day you could get video cartridges for your Game Boy Advance. Essentially, you could watch incredibly low quality video on your Game Boy Advance. This is all of the cutscenes in glorious 1080p on the Game Boy Advance. It is absolutely ridiculous, and for that reason alone, I'm super happy to add this ridiculous game to my collection. Comment down below, what is the stupidest game or item in your collection? I have been collecting for years, and honestly, I struggle to think of anything as stupid as a limited run release for April Fools of Night Trap for the Game Boy Advance. Which brings us on to my first Facebook Marketplace win in what seems like forever. And this is something I've been on the lookout for absolutely ages. Not for myself, but for a very good friend who has been looking for this specific item, but at a good price. And this is not something which is super hard to find, but I've been chasing after the right price of this item right here for absolutely ages, and I'm happy to say I finally scored this item for the right price. You're probably saying to yourself then, Dan, what's inside your sack? Well, let's delve inside my sack and find out. And of course it is this right here, Trains in the Night 12-inch vinyl record. I have no idea why this is in this bag, by the way. It has nothing to do with this item I bought off Facebook Marketplace. So, yeah, that happened. Let's delve into my sack then once more, and I'll show you exactly why I picked up this item off Facebook Marketplace. And it is for this right here, this very unloved PlayStation 2 Slim console. That's because I have a very good friend who has been after a cheap PlayStation 2 for what seems like forever. And I said, oh, you can get a PlayStation 2 for under 20 quid. It happens all the time. And it has been months, absolutely months of looking for a cheap console, and thankfully I finally found one. But you're probably thinking, Dan, your sack's rather big. There must be more hiding within it. And of course, you're right. There's a lot more in my sack. This PlayStation 2 Facebook Marketplace find also came bundled with a selection of games. So first off, we have Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time. Sadly, I already have this, otherwise it would have been very useful for the Platinum Project PlayStation 2. Then we have some really weird kind of shovelware, like World Championship Poker. Never heard of it, never played of it, probably never will. EA Sports FIFA 08, which feels actually incredibly light. No, it is in there, it just hasn't got a manual. Next up though, a bona fide classic, Tony Hawk's Underground 2. It's getting better. Another classic, SmackDown vs. Raw. You know me, I'm a wrestling fan. Brilliant game. SmackDown vs. Raw 2006. Again, fantastic. SmackDown vs. Raw 2008. Elite. And then, without... Actually, I'm going to put that one to the bottom. This one's really nice. This one I am keeping for my collection. Rayman 3 Hoodlum Havoc lenticular cover. You know me, I love lenticular. That one is staying right here. Do not fall off the shelf. SmackDown vs. Raw 2007. First game I ever played on the Xbox 360. Little known fact. 007 Everything or Nothing. But all of these games pale in comparison to, without a doubt, one of my favourite games of this generation, Burnout 3 Takedown. To this day, still one of the greatest racing games of all time. But that's not all. As well as all of the console leads and a controller, we do have a couple of loose discs. So we have Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, loose disc, surprisingly good condition, and also Crash Team Racing once again on loose. But there's one more item hiding in my sack, which was genuinely fairly intriguing. The final item hiding in my sack is this real relic of the past right here, this Action Replay disc and memory card for the PlayStation 2. Now, I absolutely loved Action Replay back in the day. Me and my friend had it for the Mega Drive and also for the N64. The way you could change your games was crazy, whether it was bonus levels, infinite health, infinite lives, ammo, guns. You could just rip games apart using one of these, and I'm sure loads of people have never used one of these. It's essentially a cheat device, but oh, it's so much fun. It's a real relic of a bygone era, and honestly, I can't wait to plug this into my PS2 and see what chaos ensues. There we have it then, folks. Some incredible limited run games added to my collection, including, without a shadow of a doubt, the stupidest game I've ever added to my collection. A PlayStation 2 console whisking its way to a new home where it will be much loved for years to come, and even more PlayStation 2 games to add to my ever-growing collection. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe, and as always, keep playing the game. See y'all soon.